By just starting, you set yourself in motion. And the more you do, the more you build momentum, and the more momentum you build translates into motivation. Before you look, you see yourself wanting to do it. So procrastination is when we put things off till tomorrow that we could do now. Now, we all have done that, right? We do that from time to time. Sometimes it's even necessary to move things up a little bit and take care of it later. However, it becomes a problem when it becomes habitual, and especially when it begins to impact some critical results in your life and it begins to undermine your well-being. That's when procrastination becomes a problem. In today's video, we want to just focus on understanding why we procrastinate and looking at few tips that will help us overcome procrastination. Why do we procrastinate? Human brain, especially our lower brain, is what a lot of people consider your subconscious, is designed for survival, is designed to keep you alive. And so as a result of that, anything that is too big, anything that is unfamiliar, or things, for example, that do not have instant gratification, your lower brain tends to steer you away from those things or tend to slow you down from approaching those things for preservation reason. It wants to keep you in the familiar. It wants to keep you with things that are easy. It wants to keep you at a place where you are able to get gratification instantly. And so understanding that's what the brain is doing. As a matter of fact, when you think about it, that's usually the reason why you would rather clean your house for the 4th time this week rather than starting that term paper that you should have started 4 weeks ago. Because cleaning your house is much more familiar, and your lower brain is steering you to the familiar, it is steering you to the easy, rather than you going to tackle something that is unfamiliar, something that is difficult. Now, understanding that about the brain and its mechanism and how it impacts our life, let's look at some tips right now that can help you overcome procrastination. The first one is the simplest one of them all. Just do it now. Just get your butt off that couch or that chair, wherever you are sitting, and go and do that thing that you've been putting off for so long. Yes, I know it's simple, but hey, sometimes simplicity is the best policy, right? But there's more to this just do it now. And somebody just asked me whether Nike is paying me to say this. No, they're not paying me, but I'm saying it because this simple just do it now actually has a logic to it. There is a way in which when you start moving and you start doing things that you do not want to do, there is a way in which motions turn into momentum, and momentum generates motivation. By just starting, you set yourself in motion, and the more you do, the more you build momentum, and the more momentum you build translates into motivation. Before you look, you see yourself wanting to do it. Just do it now. If you will just do that, then you don't even have to watch the rest of this video, right? But there are still other things. There are some people who that just do it now would not resonate with. So let's look at other tips that you can use to be able to overcome procrastination. Here's one. Break big things down. Your brain is challenge averse. Your brain does not want to face the big things, face the difficult things. The big things seem overwhelming. So why don't you break it down? Here are two ways you can break it down. So sometimes big things can be intimidating. The best thing to do is to break big projects down into smaller tasks in the sequence that will lead you to the end result. And by breaking them down into smaller tasks, it makes it much simpler and much less intimidating. And then you have a greater confidence of being able to approach it rather than when you look at it as a whole. Building your dream house, for example, you're like, how do I build my dream house? Or how do I build a house, period, right? You can break building a house down into at least, 6 to 8 steps. Build the foundation, raise the walls, do the roofing, do the finishing, and furnish the house. Before you look, you're ready to move into the house. It's even possible to break even each of those steps down into even smaller steps. But the idea is to break it down into smaller portions that are easily more manageable, but are in a sequence that will lead you to your ultimate results. So break things down. It makes it way less intimidating if it gives you more confidence to be able to go and do it. To break things down into smaller segments, smaller portions, what happens is you're able to finish those portions quickly. And when you finish those portions quickly, you have gratification. Beautiful thing about that gratification is that when you get gratification, you feel good about what you did. Your mind now wants more gratification, so it wants to go on to the next portion and the next portion and the next portion. It's always beautiful when you break things down into smaller portions. You're still able to get instant gratification while you work on big projects that have delayed gratification. So let's break it down into smaller portions. The second thing is you need to break things down by talking to other people and trying to figure it out. Sometimes when you look at big things, big projects, whatever it is that you need to do, when you just look at it as a whole, the complexity hits you. And because of that complexity, you freeze in your steps. But if you step back for a second, consult with a few persons, do your research a little bit more, the more you dig into it, the more you inquire about it, the less complicated it becomes. So here's your next tip for overcoming procrastination. Shifting mindset. A lot of people who procrastinate are in the perfection mindset. I'm not going to do something until I can get it right, okay? I'm not going to do something until I can do it in such a way that is perfect. And so you wait for that time when you can do it perfectly, and you continue to wait and wait and put it up and you never get to do it. You get stuck waiting for the moment when you can do things perfectly, and you never get it done. When you shift from perfection mindset to a progress mindset, that makes you to become unstuck so that you can stop procrastinating and do what you need to do now. Here is how progress mindset helps you. By thinking progress mindset instead of perfection mindset, you are thinking that I need to start with what I have, I need to start with what I know, I need to start with what I can, and be committed to improving upon it every day until what I have, whether it's my product or my service, becomes exceptional. That's the progress mindset. On the one hand are people who have to get it right. On the other hand, and this is what a lot of great big companies do, it's called release and iterate. If Steve Jobs and others had waited for the iPhone to be in the current form that we have it now, they would have never released iPhone. But they released the first iPhone, and if you compare the first iPhone to the iPhone we have now, it's like night and day. But for them, what they were committed to doing, what they were committed to a progress mindset, we will release it now, and we will continue to commit ourselves to working on improving it all the time until we have an exceptional product. That's what you should do with your life. Never wait until you can get a perfect outcome. Because to be frank with you, reality is not perfect. Reality cannot contain perfection. You need to start where you are now. Do what you can now and continue to be committed to improving on it. Take what you know and start doing what you need to do now. Here's another tip. Boost your belief. People procrastinate because their belief is low. The belief about the outcome they will get, the belief about their abilities to do what it takes, and their belief about even the process, trusting the process. Because of these three reasons, a lot of people will put things off. Either they do not feel it's gonna work, or they feel like it's gonna be a failure, or the news is gonna be bad. And because of these reasons, these people put things off. Why don't you take some time and work on your belief? Why don't you take your time and develop a sense of certainty for the desired outcome that you are looking for? Let me tell you one thing. No future destination is guaranteed in life. You may be sick and dying right now. It is not guaranteed that you will die from that sickness. You may be poor and broke. It is not guaranteed that you will grow up to stay poor and broke. There is no guarantee future outcome. The future outcome that you will have is the one that you determine you want and the one that you develop a sense of certainty about. So you decide what future outcome you want for yourself, especially for your life. Develop a sense of certainty about it, that it is possible. Be very firm and unwavering about the possibility. But let's also bring it into procrastination and think about a certain thing you want to do, but you keep putting it off because you're not sure of the outcome. Think about it again. And if that outcome is critical to your life result, then you need to develop that certainty in it and say, this is gonna be good. This is gonna work for me. Develop that certainty. When you develop that certainty, you approach things differently. But you also might need to develop certainty in yourself. Some things are so intimidating that we approach it and we're like, I'm not sure if I will make it. And because you're not sure you will make it, it impacts your stride, how you step up to take care of certain things. As a matter of fact, it gives you cold feet at times because you're not sure this is the part for you. Brother, sister, whoever I'm talking to out there, I want you to think to yourself, if this thing is important for my life, I am going to build the confidence I need in myself that I need to step forward and get this thing done. I'm gonna do it. So if you have to talk to yourself and say, I got what it takes, I can do this. Whatever you need to do to build your confidence. I have a whole different video on building self-confidence. Check out that video. But when you build that confidence, it impacts how you approach the task, the projects, and the things you need to do. Finally, it is important that you trust the process. If you don't trust the process, research it more. If it's not a proven process, get rid of it and find that process that is proven to take you to the results that you want to get to. It is important that it is proven because you need to lean on that process to get the result that you want, okay? And once you've got that process, trust in that process with all your might and commit to doing all that that process requires you to do so that you will see the results that you are looking for. Let me tell you, people who believe in their outcome, who believe in themselves, and who trust their processes, they do not sit down and put things off. They get up and they step with confidence and they dominate the things that are before them. And you can do so too by building and boosting confidence. Here's another tip for you. Modify your motivation. Modify your motivation. Some people are procrastinating because of low motivation. If you need to, work on your motivation. What's your motivation for doing what it is that you need to do? What's your motivation for doing this term paper? You need to look at that motivation and make sure you work on boosting that motivation. Sometimes I do not want to run. I love to run, but there are days that I don't want to run. And I ask myself, especially when I was training for my marathon, I ask myself, why do you need to do this? And I answer myself, because I want to finish my marathon. And I ask myself the next question, what will happen if you skip an entire week without running? And I told myself it would put me back in my training to be able to make the time that I want to make. And I thought about it for a while, and I want you to do that exercise a little bit too. Think about it for a while. If you visualize you not achieving the goal that you want to achieve. Say right now yours is a financial goal. You want to be financially free. Visualize being broke 10 years from now. Still broke 10 years from now. You'll probably be sicker and unhappier, but also broke. And let that sink in for a second, when you probably cannot work anymore. And the only work that you will probably be able to do will be a disgraceful work, but you also broke at the same time. Sometimes you need to scare yourself to be able to get up and do the things that you truly need to do to be able to get to the place that you want to get. And so if scaring yourself is what will motivate you, scare yourself. But you could also tease yourself. You could think about what will happen if you accomplish the things that you always wanted to accomplish. See yourself crossing the finish line. See yourself popping bottles with your friends. See yourself receiving your medal, or whatever it is your dream is. Sit down for a second and visualize it. And visualize and allow that joy of having that thing to flow through your body. And say, this is why I do it. And why I need to get my butt up now and go and do it. See if that visualization doesn't change your state. And the change of state doesn't get you to go and do what you need to do. You need to modify your motivation if that's what's impacting your ability to do what you need to do now. So here's another tip for you. Take time to organize yourself. Yeah, now one of the reasons why a lot of people procrastinate is because sometimes they're overwhelmed with too much to do, to the extent that they don't even know where to start. So start by doing this. Taking a piece of paper and doing a list of all the stuff you need to do. Number one. Number two, after you've done a list of all the stuff you need to do, rearrange that list by priorities. What are the most important things that you need to do on that list that if you didn't do, that could make or break your day or your week? Put a star to it, or if you're doing it on your computer, copy and paste it into the upper position so that it's on top. When you've made a list and you prioritize your list, then you know exactly where to start. Go ahead and execute your list and go down that list. Listen, don't let too many things coming at you cause you to be paralyzed. If you don't know what to do, start with a list. So my final tip for you today to overcome procrastination is to match your peak state with your toughest problem. Now, what do I mean by that? We all have peak states of our day or our week. Some of us are morning people. Others will not be fully awake until noon. Others are wide awake when some of us are going to bed. Understanding when you are most awake, most alert, and have the highest energy through your day is very, very important for you to be able to avoid procrastination. If you know when you have your greatest clarity, go ahead and schedule your work, your project, your task that requires your greatest clarity. And if you know when you have your highest energy, focus on your task that requires your greatest energy. When you do that, you are mashing your strength with your greatest problem. And so you are not putting it off. What most people do is to do the opposite. They just do whatever they need to do whenever they need to do it. But then now you are stepping up to do a task that requires concentration at a time when your mind is all the way down. But if you plan well, you are able to mash your sharp mind with your tasks that require your greatest concentration. There's no putting off there. You're attacking that thing head on because you have the right things meeting together, not the wrong energies meeting together. You need to mash your peak state with your toughest problem. So in conclusion, get your butt up off of that couch and go and do what you need to do now. And don't put it off for another day, because we understand how our brain is causing us to avoid difficult things, to avoid the unfamiliar and things that do not have instant gratification. Now that we understand that, and we have all these tips that can help us navigate around the brain and be able to do what we need to do now, get your butt up and get it done now. Hey guys, if this information resonates with you, if you felt it was useful, please like, subscribe, and share.